to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I just thank you very much, Reverend Davis. And I just have just a few comments from our last meeting. I know many of you have been, waiting to hear what your mayor's response would be as a result of the council meeting that was held on February the 10th, 2025. I certainly feel that I not only owe you a response, but rather in respect to my oath of office as Chief Executive Officer and of the City of Port Huron, I am not just supposed to or owe you, but I'm obligated to give you a response. Thanks to all the letters, calls, face-to-face with advice, prayers, and genuine interchange and support. So I thank you all, and it was really priceless. So thank you. So to begin my responses, I would just like to, I'm not going to go over it because we had that meeting. We're at a different meeting. But there are two responses that I want to key in on. And the one was, I heard a lot about, I fumbled doing something. Well, we all fumble in life, or you walk back on something. The minute I knew it was that, and I corrected it, and that correction was in our charter. So that's what I tried to do. So I didn't lose my mind. The person tried to make me feel okay, but I didn't want to feel okay. I wanted to make sure that I went back and watched it, and even though I felt what I felt, but it was correct. So when people are at you and want to make you look any other way than what you're trying to, they want to change the narrative. But I just want to set that narrative correct. I made a mistake, I went back, and when I went back, it was the truth to what I went back, that we are guided by our charter. That's our Constitution. And the second thing is that the little interchange that took place prior to that, it's one thing the chair never does. I don't care who you are, if you're in a chair, you have a big responsibility to maintain decorum. So in light of that, I didn't say anything, but it's one thing that they taught us in our parliamentary class, and I've had parliamentary class ever since I was probably 7 years old, starting with my dad. So for somebody to tell me I don't know it, I beg the difference. So you turn to your clerk. That is what the clerk is here for. She's armed with parliamentary procedures. If the clerk is not here, then you go to your lawyer, to the lawyers that are here, if they're here. But they know that too. So it's not that I have to know everything, all the rules, but I do have my sidekick here. So they would know what to do. Sorry for calling you a sidekick, but I, trusted them. So the actions that I thought would be appropriate in light of February the 10th was to submit the following resolution. And of course, the resolution is not on your agenda because we have a procedure for that. It takes 4 votes up here in order to place this resolution on our agenda. And the resolution reads as follows. It says a resolution to censor our city manager, James Freed. Whereas during the February the 10th, 2025 Port Huron, Michigan City Council meeting, City Manager James Freed exhibited unprofessional and disrespectful behavior towards Mayor Anita Ashford, the City Council, and the citizens of Port Huron. A meeting broadcast live and remain available on the city's YouTube channel. And whereas the behavior and actions of City Manager James Freed violated parliamentary procedures, meeting rules, the personnel manual for the City of Port Huron, an employment contract which requires City Manager James Freed to conduct himself with the highest standard of conduct, professionalism, integrity, accountability, and transparency with whom all he interacts in order to inspire trust in city government and to be honest, patient, dignified, and courteous to those with whom City Manager James Freed deals with in his official capacity. Whereas during the February the 10th, 2025 City Council meeting, City Manager James Freed inserted himself without requesting to be recognized by the mayor to speak into a conversation. Mayor Anita Ashford was seeking parliamentary clarity from the city clerk, Cindy Josick. City Manager Freed uttered other words, became visibly upset, and perhaps most egregious is that the City Manager Freed left the City Council meeting prior to adjournment. Whereas the current council will not normalize nor accept this type of behavior from City Manager Freed, now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Port Huron hereby expresses its disappointment in the unacceptable conduct and behavior of City Manager James Freed in conducting his official duties while interacting with the mayor, City Council members, and other officials and members of the public. Be it further resolved that the City Council further expresses to City Manager James Freed the desire that he conduct himself in a professional and dignified manner becoming of the esteemed office of the City Manager for the City of Port Huron. And lastly, I would just like to say to my fellow comrades up here, such as it is the duty to advise the council members that a no vote to the resolution, had it been okay to be here, to be voted on, we all took an oath of office. And that oath of office is no joke. We took an oath, and you entrusted us to be up here to represent you. So even though I'm writing this because this is the right thing to do, and I found myself saying, well, you know, and it is out of love. I love everyone, and I know we all make mistakes and we all do this, but we have to hold others accountable. You just can't come and do and say and everything you want. You're responsible to others, you know, whether you like it or not. So this is it, and so we will follow up. I've been in touch with our city attorneys and see where this goes, and maybe it will revisit itself on one of our next agendas. And I know the council members, James saw to it that all the council members did receive a copy of this resolution. Okay, now with that, we will call this meeting in order officially, and call the roll, please.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Haremza.
Here.
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Mosrak.
Here.
Councilmember Payton.
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Here.
Mayor Ashford.
Present. Members, you have before you the City Council meeting of February the 10th. What's your pleasure? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support. Moved by Councilmember Mosrak and second by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, take the roll, please.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak.
Yes.
Councilmember Payton.
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Mayor Ashford.
Yes. Next, you have before you our public comment section.
Mayor Ashford, if I may, I'd like to motion that we add your resolution to the agenda today. And I'd also like to move that we add a secondary resolution, which I prepared for the agenda.
Okay, all that, okay, well, we're in between something right now. We're in between a motion, I think I learned from the last time. If we're in between, so we have to take this. This is under discussion. He's asking to insert something.
Okay.
So you learn from your mistakes. See that? Never know where you're gonna be.
Do we want to, I'm not as familiar with this, do we want to discuss ask legal on how to proceed?
Okay, legal. We still have to carry this. I'm in discussion state somewhere else.
Yeah, so if I heard it correctly, that the hearing isn't as great as it once was, but as I understand it, there's a motion made to amend the agenda, and that type of motion is proper. Somebody can make a motion to amend the agenda. Under our rules, the city manager sets the agenda, and then council ultimately has control over what that agenda is. They can make make a motion to disregard the agenda, set their own agenda, add anything, subtract anything from the agenda, that's up to city council. So if there is a motion, then you'd need a second, and then you'd have to vote on that motion.
Okay, but we already have a motion on the table, and it's been properly moved and second, and this is discussion. He wants to enter another amendment. And
Yeah,
this is-
I think we should take those one at a time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you take the first motion,
Just complete it.
yeah, it sounded like there was a motion to add the resolution that you just read to the agenda. And then, so you probably should take that first, and then the second one would be a motion to add another item to the agenda, which
We,
hasn't been specified.
if it makes sense, we can start with yours, and we'll start there, and if we need to add a second resolution, we can.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Dig it back out. Okay, so, okay, is there a motion to add the one coming from the mayor?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Pemberton,
Support?
support by Councilmember Mosrak. Any discussion?
Mayor Ashford,
Yes?
for clarification, that is a motion to add your resolution to the agenda, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
I can, Mayor Ashford, I can explain.
It's fine, I just wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
understood that we broke them up, and this is the first one.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
this is the first motion, the one that I had read, that you
Thank you.
had received in there. And so, and I haven't received the second motion.
Yeah,
The second
we'll do the first one,
You
and
do
then
it?
if we need,
Okay.
I don't know if we need to do
Okay,
a second
it's
one.
been properly moved and second, and we had discussion. Any more discussion? Hearing no more discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember
We'll
Huron,
discuss it during the resolution, is that?
What?
Sorry, we'll discuss it during the resolution time then, if it gets added? Is that how, and just clarifying?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
what you.
just clarify, just make sure I understand.
Oh,
Thanks.
okay.
I'm going to take the vote. Councilmember Haramza,
So can you clarify what I'm voting on?
Yeah, that would be good. If somebody could clarify exactly so we know what our yes means and what our no means. This is
I-
Okay, yeah,
confusing.
okay, excuse me, I'm the chair. Okay, so what we're saying here is that they want clarification on what you're voting on, is that correct?
Yes.
You're voting on, Jeff Pemberton, Councilman Pemberton said that he was voting on to add the, resolution of censure, that's submitted by the mayor to be on the agenda.
Yep.
So that's what you're voting on.
And that was seconded, so it's
And that
on
was
the
seconded, it's probably
agenda.
moved and
So if I
seconded.
vote yes, what am I voting?
When you vote yes, you mean it's okay to put it on there, but if you vote no, it means no, you don't want it on there.
I would say yes, because if it
Oh,
was
wait a minute, you
red.
don't say anything right now, because we haven't called you.
She-
Okay,
she-
no, it's
She
okay.
called.
No, I told her, I just want to keep it clear, okay?
Mayor Ashford?
Yes,
I think I've confused folks. I'll just clarify, the reason I want to add it to the agenda is because it's been read aloud to the public, and it speaks about, it's a resolution, giving a council perspective. I think it's important that we just have the discussion rather than having it read out there. So by adding it to the agenda, I'm not saying I support the censure. We would not be saying we support the censure by adding it to the agenda. We are just now voting on adding it to the agenda so we can have that conversation about whether we believe we should censure Mr. Freed.
I think that's a wise.
Yeah,
move.
so I just wanted, I think that's why I think I
Yeah,
confused
yeah,
folks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
By me adding it.
Oh, okay, all right. So now we may take that.
sorry, Councilmember Haramza,
I would say yes for the same reason. It was red, so now we need to discuss it tonight.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak,
Yes.
Councilmember Payton,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Mayor Ashford.
Yes. Okay, motion carried. The resolution is on the table, so I guess, and then we have a second one? Yours?
Yeah, I think it's important, if we're going to discuss the censure of Mr. Freed. I have a proposed resolution to add to the agenda that is a resolution in support of City Manager Freed. I think it's important, when I saw this item come before us, it's one thing for us to say,
can we get it
Yeah.
on the agenda first? This is your resolution, correct?
Yeah, I don't think they can, no one's seen it, so I'm
No, I
just
know.
going to read it aloud so we can consider whether we want to get it on the agenda. Right? Is that the appropriate order? I would read, like you did, read the resolution and then give everyone a chance to vote on whether or not.
Wait a minute, I don't. Yeah, well, yeah, you're the highest authority in the room.
Yeah, it seems, so the requirement under our rules is resolutions have to be in writing, so you would have to have a writing, and so if you have copies and you have something in writing, it can be read, and then the city clerk has a record of what the actual resolution is. So I think reading it would be one way to do it, another way would be to circulate copies, but at some point in time, you will have to let everybody know what the resolution is.
Okay, but Kate,
Whether that's now or later. And the other thing I want to say is that, when we're, every one of us, from myself to the city manager to all the council members, one thing we have to make sure we do is before we speak, we seek permission of the chair. So I want to get it back to this setting where the mayor is the chair and the mayor obviously has to run the meeting. If she makes a ruling that you don't agree with, you have the right to overrule her as a group, but everybody has a chance to speak on something, but they have to first get the permission of the chair to determine the order from which they speak, okay?
I got a question. Mr. Shawley, thank you for that. So when we're introducing resolution right here in real time, why was it that I had to make sure that Corporation Council received it and reviewed it, and the member, everybody up here got to read it before they voted on it, or had any action, either whether they wanted it to come forth?
Yeah, there's no requirement in the rules that
Okay.
you run something like that by me. That would be dictated by the city manager if there's a requirement that city council would look at something beforehand.
Oh, okay, because I have that paper where I got it from the city manager,
Yeah.
that it had to go to you first before.
Never said that.
Oh, excuse me, I didn't recognize you. So I have that in writing, and so where does that leave us right now?
Yeah, so you have it in writing. It has been added to the agenda by a vote of city council. That's where it's at.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about reference in the second.
The second one, he wants to add something to the agenda, and he's made a motion. Has there been a second?
Mayor Ashford?
Can you read it?
It was my
Excuse
understanding
me.
he was going to read it before we had to vote on whether or not we were adding it to the
Obviously,
agenda.
You have to know at some point in time what it is.
Correct.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I mean, generally, you would read it at the time that it's on the agenda, but
but it's not, right?
obviously, the earlier one was read as well, so that's up to the chair's decision.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, you may proceed.
Oh, you want me to read? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for the audience, we don't add a lot of things in process
Real
like
time,
this,
yeah.
so as Mayor Ashford said earlier, we're learning as we go here. So this is a resolution in support, of support for City Manager James Freed. If you could just pass it down, please. Whereas James Freed has served as City Manager of Port Huron since June 2014. During this time, he has guided the city through remarkable financial challenges, while at the same time protecting core public services. Whereas City Manager James Freed has delivered 10 balanced budgets, increased fund balances, reduced unfunded liabilities, and saved taxpayers of the city more than $114 million. Whereas the unemployment rate, poverty rate, and crime rates have dramatically dropped while James Freed has served as city manager. Whereas City Manager Freed has received above average performance reviews for each of his 10 years of service to the city. Whereas City Manager Freed has never been subject to discipline or employee complaints during his decade of leadership. Now therefore be it resolved, the City Council affirms its support of City Manager James Freed and thanks him for his continued dedicated services to the citizens of Port Huron.
Okay, that's it, okay, thank you. Okay, we're still at the, okay. Any questions, still in discussions of
I
the
need a second.
resolution?
I don't know that it's been seconded yet.
Okay, it hasn't been.
Well, to
Okay.
finish, if I may.
Oh, you read the,
Yeah, I was explaining previously, the reason I'm adding this, I think it's important, we're going to vote on a censure. And if we choose not to censure Mr. Freed, that's implying one thing. It's implying what is a resolution of support. And so I think it's important that we not just say we take a vote to censure Mr. Freed and we choose not to as a council. I want to take it a step further and say, not only do we not censure him, we want to extend our support of him. Mr. Freed doesn't get that often. His reviews are private, and his reviews are not public, and so there's not much of an opportunity for the council to share its support of Mr. Freed in these meetings. So that's why I wanted to add this to the agenda as a secondary item in addition to the censure. I think it's important to cover both sides of the base.
okay.
Thank you, Mayor Ashford.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Pemberton. Okay, well, we need a second. I didn't forget that for Mr. Pemberton's resolution. Is there a 2nd?
I'll second it.
Second by Lamb, second by Councilmember Lamb. It appears we already had any more discussion on that. Hearing no more discussion, you may call the roll call.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher,
Yes.
Councilmember Payton,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza,
Yes.
Mayor Ashford.
No. Okay, motion carried, and that will be added to our agenda. I think we could just take care of now first off, before we get into that. So we will go with the first one, the one that was submitted by the mayor for censure of City Manager James Freed.
I think that we do it at the time of the resolution, because I think Todd was just.
Oh, Todd, this afterwards then?
I'm sorry, I probably should have said this earlier. So when you add something to the agenda, it would be.
It would fall in line?
Under resolutions, which is H, so.
Oh, okay, Mike,
You should take
okay.
that in
I
order.
gotcha.
So either, most people add it to the very end of those resolutions. But you definitely should do, we always recommend you do public comment first. Because you may hear from people.
That have
on,
some.
they might have some input on some of the items that are on your agenda.
Okay.
That's one of the points to do in public comment.
Okay, and you're so correct. Okay, so just for the audience pleasure, we have approved both of those as going on to the agenda. And right now, we have, under resolutions, we have one resolution, and we'll have resolution 2 and 3 being the both that are just now added to the agenda. Are we okay? So again, we will be voting on the 2 added resolutions under item H when we get there. So now we will continue. This is public comment time. If anyone in the audience wishes to address the city council on any agenda item or any matter under the city jurisdiction, now is the time to do so. You are allowed 1 4-minute opportunity to make your comments. Please begin your comments by stating your name and your address for our records.
Vicki Blackburn, excuse me, 3437 Stone Street, Port Huron. I'm going to ask you to give me grace in this moment. I don't like public speaking. I don't like coming to the podium. And I can't be quiet. I am not a complacent person. I'm not an apathetic person. And I look for social justice. So that being said, I want to thank you for your time tonight. And I want to say this is very difficult. I'm just going to say it the way I feel it. And the way that I feel it is that I love you, Mayor Ashford. I love you, Mr. Freed. I think I'm one of your biggest supporters, Mayor. And I've watched Mr. Freed for a long time, bringing excellent presentations and information that have really helped me as a citizen. So what I would like to see, instead of coming with two opposing resolutions that I find very disheartening. My goodness, it's hard enough at the national level. I don't need this in my city. Republican versus Democrat, black versus white, and then we have Hispanic, and we have Native American, and we have LGBT, and we have straight. We have all these divisions that are unnecessary. We have too much work to do to be involved in any kind of judgment, discrimination, hate, humiliation, lack of respect. And I'm going to be the first one to say, I don't know what I don't know. And the only thing I know for sure is I know nothing. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I would like it to please stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I say that respectfully, with all respect.
Thank you.
Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, Grosser, G-R-O-S-S-E-R, not G-R-O-F-F-E-R, like the Department of Education has claimed. Address 2420 10th Street, Port Huron, Michigan 48060. On your jurisdiction that you say that any agenda or any item matter underneath the jurisdiction, a few things I want to bring up is the water billing, which is in the sewer costs. The city of Port Huron, from my understanding, is in a geographical location that has no northbound municipalities that have city water, in which case I came from St. Clair Shores. Their city billing for the sewer was a lot less. Their billing frequency was quarterly, so their supplies on paper, their supplies on ink was a decrease from what I can anticipate from the city of Port Huron from their monthly billing. I urge this council, or the mayor, whomever, to initiate a motion to research upon that. And if the city of Port Huron can reduce their sewer cost based on the fact that the city of Port Huron's right there, there's no city above them, it's cleaner water than, say, the city of St. Clair Shores, because the city of St. Clair Shores would accept the city of Port Huron water from its sewer disbursement if it gets into the lake. It will reduce costs for the taxpayers behind me. It will reduce supplies costs for you in the long run. And overall, it's a great benefit for both. It seems like from the last meeting, there were some contradictions, motions, arguments, whatever. It seems like there's been a faster pace for a resolution for all of you of a different member class. So it seems like it's going in an appropriate direction. So I do hope you guys all get on the same page, accept each other's differences, and be able to come to a resolution to benefit the city itself. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. Rebecca Milam, 1773 Mansfield, Port Huron, Michigan, 48060. I have an issue with the cameras in our city. There are not enough cameras to detect crime. I was a victim on Saturday. This is unacceptable. I bring my grandchildren to this city. My husband and I were jumped Saturday evening in a parking lot in this city that has no active cameras. I don't understand that. There's no reason for us to pay taxes and not be able to have access to cameras in our city. Something has to change. Someone has to do something. Can someone point me in the direction? Who do I need to talk to? It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not right. Please do better. Somebody's got to be able to do something. I don't know who.
You're talking to us. You have the city manager.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm starting to shake. I'm very upset. This is
Sorry.
upsetting. I bring my grandchildren downtown to this city. 7 o'clock in the evening. I'm jumped in a parking lot going to dinner. Not acceptable. Not at all. I appreciate your time. I just hope something can get resolved. I will be reaching out to you guys.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry that happened. Is there anyone else wishing to address the city council?
My name is Hale Walker. I live at 1670 Pug Road in St. Clair, but I'm a business owner downtown and heavily invested in the south side. I'd like to take the opportunity just to echo Reverend Bill Davis in thanking the council for what you guys do. You have a thankless job. Most of the time when I see these meetings, people will be standing here and complaining. And I want to take an opportunity just to thank you and share with you the experience my brother Mark and I have had. We have invested literally millions of dollars in the south side of Port Huron. And the reason that we have done that is because of the environment that you people in this room have created for not only Port Huron, but the greater St. Clair County. It took us $150,000 in 2 years to get approval from Eagle to be able to start that project. So you can imagine the frustration. And then to start the project and have constraints with building inspectors, this type of thing. Well, I was probably wrong. I'll be the first one to say that. But James Freed got involved, and what he did is he brought in the building inspector, the fire inspector, David Haynes, other inspectors, and we sat down and had a meeting. And since that time, on a regular basis, every other week, we're meeting at the site with inspectors. We're all at least on the same page. We might disagree with one another, but we know exactly what's going on. So the environment that's been created for investment in this area is critical. So if we go back to the young lady who spoke first, I'm just stressing that it's critical that we get through these differences that we have right now and look for what's best for the city of Port Huron, the county of St. Clair, and the people in this room. Thanks so much for the opportunity to talk.
Thank you, Ms. Walker.
Excuse me. My name is Cynthia Bankston. I live at 3024 Thornhill Court in Port Huron. I just want to, one thing I want to say is thanks to our mayor, Ashford, for attending the National African American Read-In at Cleveland School on Saturday. That was appreciated, and for the Port Huron Area School District that allowed it to be at their school because the college backed out because of the DEI stuff, something. Anyway, but I thank you for attending, and thank you for attending the Taste of Soul at the museum. So I don't know, I don't remember seeing anybody else there from the council, but you all are welcome to come to everything. And what I want to say also, I got to hurry it up. I was at the last meeting, and I'm speaking up for our mayor who was elected by the city, and because I think she was disrespected by being overspoken when she was asking Mr. Freed to not speak at that moment, he began to speak anyway. And also, when the audience, there was a guy in the audience that said, well, maybe Anita Ashford don't trust Mr. Freed. And when Mr. Pimpleton made his comment, he was like, we all were in agreement to what the man said. And everybody didn't agree. If I would have agreed, I would have probably stood up and said, yeah, I agree too. Or anybody else that was in the audience would have agreed too. But you were like saying, like it's everybody is in agreement to what he said. And so I wasn't, and I'm sure everybody else wasn't. You know, that was just a statement. But I appreciate those who work with the city, those who support the south end of town as well as the north end. The north end of town is not like the south end because the south end is neglected. You see more things happening on the north end at the lakeside beach and all these things, the McMorran, a lot of things, but the McMorran is catching on for things for people of color. But anyway, I just want to say I appreciate the things that our mayor is doing for our city. We even had those lights at Christmas time. We usually don't have lights on 24th Street around where the splash pad was. But we had some light, and that was good. So I just want to say the good things that our mayor is doing, and I appreciate her, and I appreciate the council members. And for the one who replaced Mayor Ashford, because she represented kind of like South Park, I'd hope that the one that came in would also support South Park. show up at the events that South Park has, at least, and have something that they put forth. Last meeting was regarding Knox Field and improving some things. Have a part in doing that, because we're people too. We're on the south end, but we need an upgrade just like the north end. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here that'd like to address?
Kathleen McCready, 414 14th Street. I really don't know what to say tonight. But,
Okay.
first of all, to Mr. Walker, I work at 24th and Connor. My former
Excuse me,
employer
miss.
sold you the property.
You have to address the council.
Oh, I'm sorry. I work at 24th and Connor, and my former employer sold Mr. Walker the property, and I do watch with interest what goes on, and I am appreciative of the city's time and attention to the major changes he's making. But there are other avenues that do need time and attention. So, regarding the tensions with the city leaders, I have this to offer. The City of Port Huron organization chart has the citizens first, then the mayor, then the council, then the city manager, below council, etc. That's just the POD lesson for tonight. All too often, citizens ask questions, sometimes get a response, sometimes get a resolution. However, when I review, and I'm not naming names, a council member's voting record, in a 4-year time frame, the record shows all yes votes with the exception of 2 votes on the resolution. 1 being abstain, 1 being a no. To me as a citizen, that means you are not questioning anything. I cannot tell you how many times that I see something that's important, I keep my mouth shut, I don't interfere, and nobody questions it, and I go away, and it's like, oh, really? Okay. So it's true. Since Harrison Point of late is looking as bad as I have ever seen it, and I've been a homeowner for 30 years, I've been active for the whole time. My parents raised me to be a good civic citizen. If anybody would question dollars spent, there might be enough dollars to clean up one of the 4 boarded up properties. The county owns one particular one, and I'm being told because of the grant, we're gonna have to look at this derelict church for at least a year. Because nobody can find any money, but I'm sorry, you can fix the ditch. And I have looked that up on newspapers.com, and the canal has been an issue for 100 years plus. If you want me to write a paper, I will. I am also questioning, okay, so I questioned the garbage. I never got a resolution on that, and now I notice that Port Huron Township has the one-armed bandit. So they have 1 can for garbage, 1 can for recycling. Everything is limited, everything is nice and clean. My next question is, it's opening the Pandora's box, but I would like an update on what are you gonna do about fluoride? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. McCready. Is there anyone else wishing to address the council this evening?
Dr. Leslie Bender-Jutsi, 2614 South Boulevard. I have a concern about the procedures that we're following or not following here at the City Council. I was concerned at the last meeting when you were told that there was no way to reconsider the vote when, in fact, Rule 14 and 15 do provide for that, and the Robert's Rules of Order provide for that as well. So that concerned me. Today I'm also concerned. While it's true that Rule 8 does allow for the addition of an agenda item, it's also true that Rule 8A1 has provisions to ensure that we have open meetings, that we all understand what's being considered, that the public is included, that we're transparent. And I am just concerned that the way we're doing business, and especially the allegations that you have that you were told to do something in one way, and another council member was told to do it a different way, or maybe not told at all, this concerns me. I imagine it concerns the rest of the public to see our government operating this way, to see our mayor told false information, to see that instead of letting the public and the council members have time to review a resolution, to ponder it, to have discussions with their peers and their affected community, we are rushing this through. So I would urge the council to perhaps either table both resolutions or table the second resolution for consideration at the next regular meeting, which is generally the standard that you have under your rules of procedure. Again, Rule 8A1. Thank you.
We're so right. Thank you very much, Dr.
Trace Smith.
Tracy.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to start off by reminding our precious dears, please, as you are speaking, please.
I was way over.
Make sure, just because it's small fix. I'm not asking you about the roads. I'm not asking you to fix immigration. I'm not asking you to fix the housing issue. I'm just saying when we're watching on YouTube, when we hear this, it's hard to actually hear what's being spoken. Nobody repeats themselves. But also, another thing, since we have these wonderful resolutions that are out there, I wanted to commend you guys for going viral last week. Because now that we have resolutions that can be created between meetings, then maybe there are suggestions that you'll take from the public. Maybe we can have a task force now on fixing the roads or finding money for that. Maybe there could be a resolution to create a task force to figure out how to prevent all this violence that's been on the uptick. Maybe we can create a resolution to acknowledge the life of Vinny that was lost not too long ago. There's a lot of things now that I realize that can happen that don't take 3 and 4 months to push through. Just like the one meeting they talked about not having, I think, defibrillators in each police vehicle, and that was pushed through a meeting. So government can work when we want to. So that's exciting. So I've learned something that really isn't a slow bureaucracy. It's just if you want to make it happen. And so I encourage you. You've shown your people that you can push something through, that you can share your thoughts. You can go on the radio, you can go on different interviews, you can do whatever you want to do. So that means change is right around the corner if we want to do it. We have that authority, that power. And so you all are more now than just figureheads, just people we see twice a month. You guys actually have power that now you're enforcing and putting out there to people. I'm excited about that. So I look forward to the next resolutions that will help us get our youth activated, that will help violence go down, that will help the roads get fixed faster, and whatever else there may be, because you guys are the elected officials and you all have power. And please, thank you for not having ice in your cups anymore.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Larry Jones, 208 Huron Avenue. I come here, I want to thank everybody for all your hard work. I know you guys don't make a lot of money, and so it's a personal heart thing to come here. Anita, I've listened to you, and I've appreciated comments from you being in the city council for these years. I came to this area 15 years ago. I have not only spent a lot of money fixing up this community, but me and Tracy have put in a lot of work into fixing up this community. And you've heard speeches, we've done it for families, for kids, and you can see it in this Wrigley Center that we've got downtown, okay? James has been in those meetings, both of you guys. There's been things I've disagreed with you and a lot of things I've agreed with you. The city wouldn't be where it is today without everybody that's been in the city council, and the lady that spoke, she she says she's not a speaker, but that was the greatest speech I've heard in a long time. I mean, we are, and it's like, I was handed, a thing here. Abraham Lincoln, said, a house divided cannot stand. A city divided cannot stand. So we're not in the sandbox anymore, we have to work together. And Anita, if you're gonna be in this position, you're the leader. You have to be able to calmly step back. And that's the one thing that is good for me, because Larry Jones sometimes, this rebel jumps out. But I need that person to calm down. Let's look at it a different way. Let's table it. There's arguing in the public is not good for the council. It's not good for the city. It's not good for future investments. Mr. Walker's talking about here about, putting a lot of money in. We're constantly not only putting money in and trying to do things, but we're also taking phone calls and trying to bring other investors into this town. You think if another investor looks at this meeting or reads this about in the newspaper, what they're going to think about our community? If our community is divided and fight amongst ourselves, what are we going to bring into this town? So we got these resolutions, the resolution that the second one that you wrote for James, okay, should be written for every one of you down through here. We don't need one that is reprimanding somebody, that's negative about somebody. Every person on this city council, including our mayor, needs to be promoting each other, promoting our city, promoting the new people coming to our town. Not reprimanding, that's the kind of stuff that the principal or the foreman or the city, you're supposed to take them in the back room and say, hey, let's sit down and talk. I've had 80 men work for me, and I've taken my best journeyman carpenter and I put him into a foreman position, and I've had to take him in the back room and say, listen, you're either going to go back to a journeyman, you're either going to take some classes on how to be a foreman, or I'm going to let you go. Because all of a sudden they have, this big hat, and they grew a foot taller, and now it's, well, I'm in charge, it's all about me. And that is not what anybody can do, is the leaders, and I've tried in the best, down, it's kind of funny because everybody says, like,
your time is up there. Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so
Great
much.
compliments.
And thank you for every one of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mark Sanderson, Fort Gratiot, Michigan. I just want to follow up what Larry Jones just said. If he cared so much about this community, when a man's murdered downtown and a PI comes to him to want to look at videotapes, he should probably let the PI look at videotapes. Okay, so let's start with that. So if you care a lot about this town, you're going to work with everybody, not just the people you know. And as far as what's going on up here, I mean, it's definitely, you can tell it's divided. You guys are all divided. And I think it's probably because you guys didn't think Anita Ashford was going to win mayor, but she did. So for the I don't know, is this going to be this way for the next 2 years, till her term's up? And then what are you guys going to do if she gets voted in again? Then another thing you guys got to look at for our city council, you guys are all voted in. You guys keep this up, I won't, I bet you guys are all going to lose your seats. I mean, you guys are all voted in for the exception of Bob. He was brought in by you guys, but I don't know, it's just ridiculous that grown people are, teaming up on somebody about stuff. Instead of like, oh, she's doing this wrong, doing that wrong, why don't you guys just help her out? That's right. Instead of fighting on the law. You guys talked about you can't get a canal done, but you have to bring an attorney in here to help you figure this out. What's the cost of that? You could save money that way, and there's a lot of different stuff I look at, just as far as, like all that shit with Julian in his garden. But then James goes on TV on the news saying he's gonna start planting fruit trees and vegetables and stuff around city lots. I'm like, what the heck, man? I can't figure it out, but anyways, I didn't plan on talking because I talked to James before I come in here, but then when Larry stood up here and talked about how much he cares about this city. It got me kind of tempered because, like I said, we had a PI go talk to him on some videotapes off the Wrigley Center. And he wasn't willing to give them up at the time. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to address the council?
I looked at the agenda, actually, I put the microphone here. When I was listening online, you couldn't really hear too much from speaking. So if you get closer to the mic, it usually helps out for people watching online. One of the things on the agenda today.
Did you?
Mark Watson, 2216 7th Street.
Thank you.
The one thing I did want to talk about is our city parks are very important, and the cleanliness of our city parks have greatly improved in the past 5-10 years, and they're improving more. One of the things on the agenda is a contract for portable restrooms for the parks and for boat launches. I want to encourage that. I like that the cheapest price is $300,000 and something for 5 years, compared to the highest was $1 million for the 5 years. I know that they're seasonal, but I also know that there is a need for those restrooms, and if portable is the way we're gonna go, well, let's have the nicest portable restrooms that we can have. And some of them said daily use, daily cleaning, daily. It wasn't too read out in there which ones are daily, other than daily cleaning of the Riverside boat launch. The other ones, in my opinion, should be daily cleaned if that is part of the contract. The contract was not written in that way that I could tell what the servicing of those other restrooms were. The last thing people want to do is use a portable restroom that is there but is no use because it isn't cleaned on a daily or every other day, 7 days a week, because those parks are they never close except for in dusk. So the other thing is that I am also in management roles, that deal with the board, and I am in no way in a knowledgeable way to tell anyone on this board what to do. Also, in regular board meetings, there is normally very, very, very little discussion on the front at any board. Very little discussion. Most decisions are made in the processing of those agendas and the processing of those things to vote on. Like you said, you get the packet. I have been in many board meetings where, oh, look at that, there's something on the packet that I didn't know. Shame on me. Now, that's not saying that we're all going to catch everything. And there also are normal business things that happen that in every business happen on a monthly, yearly, quarterly, and they have to do with employees, they have to do with coworkers, and that should not be a contentious issue. And when it is a contentious issue, there should be a way to resolve it. And discipline is a way to resolve things. And I understand that. And I think that's why a lot of people are here tonight, because people like to see discipline. I have no opinion on that. But I do have an opinion that people do want to see the city ran well, they want to see the council ran well, and they want to see resolutions and agendas and the regular city business ran like a business, and I want to thank you for doing that on a daily basis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Watson. Is there anyone else? Yeah.
Good evening.
Good
Curtis
evening.
Carl, Port Huron Township. As an employee, you're expected to do certain things. You're supposed to perform well, you're supposed to do the tasks at hand, you're supposed to shine, you're supposed to do all the great things as an employee. But as an employee, you're supposed to have other skills too, people skills, know how to talk to people, know how to treat others, know how to hold your temper. Just a lot of things that we didn't see last meeting. You can tell the whole world of how great somebody's doing, but if they screw up, they need to be disciplined, they need to be held accountable. And no matter how good they are, if they suck at a few things, they need to go. He works for you guys. And he's the common denominator tonight. And it's been
a lot of meetings. James is the common denominator. You know, I lost the last little bit of respect for him when he told me to go back to my township. I want to know if I can take my tax dollars with me. I know I've said this several times, and that ain't going to happen. I pay taxes to the city of Port Huron. I bitch about the roads every meeting. I ask why some of the roads weren't completed, and I get some statement that he won't even tell me what it meant. It's just, it's frustrating, and you see who's who and who's taking sides. You know, you were very upset, Bob. Jeff, I know you're totally with him. Terry, not sure. Jerry, not sure. I'm just trying to figure it all out, but if we're gonna take sides, maybe we could all sit on the side that we're on. It would help me visually, just to know who's with who, you know? Wear a certain color, whatever it takes. Put it out there. That or come together. You got two options. But I can tell. I've been watching, been listening. Better make some changes soon. On another note, if we're gonna ticket somebody for snow removal, if the city has the boardwalk, I'm not sure, don't we own the boardwalk? If we do, we're supposed to properly maintain that. I'd say after a snowstorm, within a couple days, you would think somebody'd be out there plowing it. I know they do very well over here. You guys got some really good fellows that work for the city, and they do a great job right here in front of your building, but I don't know who does it up in front of the Blue Water Bridge and all along there. But there's people that still use that daily. And I gave Barb that picture. That was Thursday morning at 8 o'clock. So I had to call one of your departments and get somebody out there to throw the snow in the river or wherever they did with it. Sad, you know, people still want to use it no matter how cold it is. There's people walking the Marysville Boardwalk as well. So don't even try to give somebody a ticket if you can't take care of your own properties.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crowe.
Eileen Tesh, 145 Channel Side, Algonac. You know, it's the little things that count, and the day-to-day things. And as somebody mentioned, how we interact with others and how we respect others. Now, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, I came here, and I told all of you, not Miss Payton, she wasn't here, but all of you, about the verbal attack by James Freed on me in a public area, in a public forum for the city. And not one of you did anything. And when I then talked to former Mayor Pauline Rapp, she told me to file a police report. Well, you know how that went. I went and talked to the detective, and he said, well, since Mr. Freed didn't strike you, assault you, there was no physical altercation, there is no reason. We are not taking the report. So, I avoid Mr. Freed. He doesn't like me. I'm here, my job, expose corruption, problems that I see, so that we can do better. But don't attack me. And it was only because Cliff Schrader was with me that he told James to back off. And then after I leave and I come here and I bring things to your attention, and then he makes negative comments, he attacks me after I leave. No, I can't stay here for the whole hour. I've got things to do. I can watch the rest on video, but then, Mayor, you say to him, we have to be respectful. You know, I mean, he's a grown man, okay? There's a book, maybe. How to Win Friends and Influence People. What a concept. And Mr. Pemberton, when you said Mr. Freed has never been disciplined or censored, excuse me, he is no longer accredited with the International City Managers Association. So be careful what you say.
Is there anyone else wishing to address the?
Holden Gauthier, 11th Ave. I don't have much to add to what many people have said. So I'm just going to go back to kind of a little bit more of what I wanted to say, because I did not get here at the last meeting as far as the open discussion on the master plan. Just wanted to say, many times does it mention that we're going for a resilient and sustainable design element, and in terms of parks, business district, residential areas, I don't see that.
I have seen countless trees already removed from my block, never to be replanted. 70-year-old beautiful oaks gone overnight. I wake up hearing them getting torn down. Not a single tree in sight the 2-3 years I've been in my house replanted. And where do you see resilient and sustainable design elements in our parks? I don't see bioswales. I don't see a lot of engineering to our parking lots that help to capture runoffs and negative emissions from cars. I don't see things like that here. So maybe just remove it from the master plan if we're going to go for the cheapest thing possible that doesn't incorporate good values. And then I heard a few comments tonight. Actually, I heard a few comments tonight in terms of as far as what people vote. I will go back to last year. It was February 26th I came here. I actually ran the numbers, and about 97% of the votes over the course of February 2021 February 2022 through February 2023, or 23 to 24. It was 97% unanimous. So nobody was really doing no votes. It was like on my fingers. There was 7 no votes, a couple abstains. So it's just kind of nice to see people actually having a discussion. I appreciate how forthright you all have been tonight in talking to each other. And then I kind of wanted to make a little bit of my own resolution here to amend Jeff Pemberton's, because he said that James Freed has dramatically reduced poverty. I've been here, blue in the face, talking about poverty right here. And I will go back to the math. From 2014 to 2022, the reduction of poverty rate nationally was 22.3%. We did marginally better, 23.6% reduction in Port Huron. That's not dramatic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gauthier. Is there anyone else wishing?
Good evening. My name is Mary Williams, and the first thing that I want to talk about is our scenic turnout on the south end of town. That's one of the only places that is not equipped. One of the only places in the city that's not equipped with ADA. We have lots of older gentlemen who are fishermen that go down there, and lots of veterans that go down there and frequent that area for fishing. And it's so sad to see some of the men that are in wheelchairs and on walkers trying to get down those steps. So I would ask that the city look at that and view that and try to make it where it's ADA, where our people can. I'm actually handicapped, and I have a hard time walking down the steps. I fell a couple of times, and I've seen the old guys fall also. So please, if we could look at that to try to get some resolve there, so it can be a ramp where our older, where people can get down there and enjoy that boardwalk, that little stretch of the boardwalk, if it's fishing, walking, or whatever. But what I really came here to talk, and I hope you address that. What I really came here to say is that Mayor Anita Ashford was elected mayor. Get over it. Get over it. Let's move this city on. We can't have a buddy-buddy system here that I'm gonna support you if you support me. No, let's get over it. Let's move on with this city, help her out when she needs help, stop over-talking her when she's asking a question, keep your mouth shut until she gives you the go-ahead. Just like I have to sit and be quiet until she gives me the go-ahead but to speak. But get over it. Let's move this city forward. There's so many great things about this city, and we have to work together to make that happen. I agree with the people that said, how can we bring businesses in here and new ventures in here if we don't do the right thing by the citizens? It isn't the mayor that you're working for. It's the people that you are working for. And if you don't start looking at that, you will not be setting up there next time. I guarantee you, because I will work hard to get every last one of you guys out if you don't start supporting the people. This is the second time that what I seen happen at the last meeting. This is the second time. It happened in a closed session also. Not a closed session. It happened in a private set. I don't know what you call it, but It happened before where you guys forced her when she was trying to say, wait just a minute, let's look at this. You forced a vote and got Mr. Bob Moserak into the seat. I'm fine with that. You voted him in, let's go, but that was the wrong thing to do, and she was out-talked by Mr. Freed. I respect Anita, I respect Mr. Freed. Anita has been the same person she is. She's been a humble person her whole life. And she's believed in God her whole life. So when you get, I'm gonna just tell you, watch out when you mess with the child of God. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Now, I'm not putting a threat out here or anything, but what I'm saying is God's always gonna prevail. So we gotta do the right thing by our mayor. Let's stand behind her. I didn't like it when President Trump got elected, but guess what I did? I stand there. He's my president. And Anita's my mayor. Now let's go for it and let's get some work done.
Thank you.
Ryan Farquhar, 19th Avenue. I'm only going to reference this because this woman referenced it, and I actually wasn't going to come tonight because I thought it was going to be pretty divided, but I started watching online, and everybody knows I can't bite my tongue for too long, so I'm here. I didn't come to the meeting to vote in Mr. Mosrak because there was going to be animosity there. I felt, from the citizens, from the rest of it. So I stayed out of that whole fight. What I will say about that is my issue that kept me from sitting up here on city council, me neglecting to pay my taxes. I do feel that Mr. Freed knew about that before I was even put on the ballot. And I'll just publicly say that now because unfortunately people have said they've heard that around the bars. I won't disclose those and whatnot, but so there may have been some whatnot to manipulate the election or do whatever, but let's move along then, okay? Because from me running in the election, what I've seen is I've seen people I care about hurt, okay? And what I found out is directly there was an attack made on somebody, directly correlated to the fact that I wouldn't take a donation, is what I'm being told. So it's just an odd play of how things kind of work out and the different play of it all. But what I'm seeing here is tonight. We can move swiftly and quickly on things, right? We can get things done. I don't think Mr. Freed needs to be punished. What I think we need to do is we need to sit down and say, look, you can't walk out of a meeting, you work for us, plain and simple, right? I don't think Mrs. Ashford needs to be punished because at the end of the day, whether anybody in this room knew it at the time or not, she was correct because there was a procedure to go back on that, and she was the one initiating it, and she had voted yes for it, right? What I would like to see, to help the citizens, and this is going to boil Mrs. Archibald's blood, and I'm sorry, Sherry. Anybody seen the prices of eggs lately? They're back up, crazy high. Let's finally have the discussion to be like Royal Oak, to be like some of the other communities, and let's legally let people have food and get their own food in their backyards. So therefore, let's have some chickens in the city of Port Huron. There's a way we can do this. We can charge people. There's lots of outlines from communities in Michigan that do this and do this very well. Don't have outbreaks like the bird flu or other things like that. I have a friend. They don't live in the city of Port Huron. They have 3 chickens. In the last 2 weeks, they've provided 18 eggs for their family on less than $12 of chicken food. Okay, you can't go to the store and buy 18 eggs for $12. All right? So if we're going to do what we want to do to punish people real quick, let's throw another resolution in and actually help our citizens for once. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to address the Port Huron City Council this evening?
Hello, my name is Pauline Foster. I live at 2609 Walnut Street in Port Huron, Michigan. I watched the city council last week. Everybody's already addressed it, but I thought it was a clown show. I think everybody should get together and get along, because every one of you are elected officials. And Mayor Ashford is the mayor now. Like they said, get over it and get together, get it together. And another issue I have, my street on Walnut Street, I've lived there for 10 years, and every spring, they come and put that black tar in there, and I have potholes all on the street, in between Hancock and Riverview. And that stuff doesn't even stay even a week before it's tore up again. And another street that's tore up is Elmwood between Stone and Gratiot. It is terrible. I don't know where you get the funding, but please find some to get some of these city streets fixed. Thank you.
My name is Domingo Ruiz, and I live at 2430 Riverside Drive. It's a pleasure to follow a good parent that I worked with a number of years ago at Garfield School. We go back a long way. Now we see each other at SC4 games, and I see her down on the riverfront doing some fishing. But a good parent like no other, I want you to know that. Well, I came in here just basically to say thank you for being up here at council, because I did my about 10 years, 11 years, something like that. But everybody just piled on with different ideas. And first off, I'm grateful I'm standing here, not there, because you do have a challenge. And I'll take the good words that I heard from a number of people, and those are, thank you for being there, work together, communicate. There's nothing but experience here, except perhaps Ms. Payton. She'll get it soon enough. Some of you have gone to those seminars and trainings which allow you to become a civic person representing your people. I lived in 4 different addresses down in the south end of town. My #1 church was Our Lady of Guadalupe, but this goes back, I've been here 76 years in the city. I love it. The good things that you heard, take those things that you have questions about and act on them. And there is a procedure, and I'm a teacher and an old school principal. And that is, so somebody gave a civic lesson earlier on. Each one of you has a vote that's equal. Each one of you. There is a leader, a ceremonial title, but it's a title, it's there for a reason. Communicate. It's there. I work with most of you in terms of being on council. So I think it's there. Mr. Jones spoke highly about that in terms of what the city has to offer. People touch on the beauty of the city, people talk on all those positives. I still believe it's got that. I like the safety of my city. I like in terms of when I live here because I like the police force. That's what I believe in. I like the fire department. I like all the department heads that are in our city. I like the way things are going. It's a positive. And I have watched from afar when things can turn bad, where it almost, you might as well throw a tent over that circus that we had on occasion. A lot of good people. I've worked with other people on city council, and they all gave their time, and they believe in the city. I know you do too. I can only wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else wishing to address the Port Huron City Council this evening? Well, I want to thank everybody who came forth. They were all heartfelt comments that you made, and I'm sure we all are going to take that under consideration as we move forward. And that's where you got to go, not backwards, but forward. And then we will do that. So, public hearing is now closed. We will continue with our agenda. Consent agenda?
Yeah, consent.
Okay, we're at the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mayor Pro Tem.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Lamb. Any discussion? Anything that needs to be taken off or put on or whatever? Okay, hearing none. Roll call.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford.
Yes. There are two items that are on our consent agenda under communications and petition. Receive and file notifications from the Michigan Liquor Control Commission that an application has been received from One Stop Shop Paradise and Company for a new SDM license located at 1122 10th Street. And under resolutions, number 2, approving the scheduling of a public hearing for March 10th, 2025 to hear input and receive comments from the citizens on proposed grant applications through the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund and Michigan Department of Natural Resources Recreation Passport Fund for financial assistance in the improvements to Knox Field, Lakeside Park, and Sanborn Park. And those are your items that were listed under the consent agenda. Now we will turn to, from the city manager. Clerk, please. And under this, just so you be right with us, we're going to take, from the city manager, number 1 has been removed. And we're going to take items, council members, if you have no objections, 2 and 3 both together.
Accepting the unit price bid from JCI Jones Chemical Incorporated in the amount of $1.68 per gallon for an estimated 204,500 gallons of sodium hypochlorite for use at the wastewater treatment plant and water filtration plant. Accepting the unit price bid from JCI Jones Chemical Incorporated in the amount of .1069 per wet pound for an estimated 270,000 wet pounds of sodium hydroxide for use at the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, you have heard those two from the city manager. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Moserack, and second, is that you, Sherry?
Yeah, I'll change to support.
Okay, and supported by Mayor Pro Tem Sherry Archibald. Is there any discussion on both these two? And what you're looking at right there is just the chemicals that we put in our wastewater treatment plant to treat it, and so that's what that is, and it's always something we do yearly. So this is just part for the course that we're going through here. Okay, so it has been properly moved in second, and hearing no other discussion, we will call the roll.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. From the city manager.
Ready for the next one? Okay. Accepting the unit price bid from Carmeuse Line Canada, limited in the amount of $495 per dry ton for an estimated 480 dry tons of hydrate lime for use at the wastewater treatment plant.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Councilmember Lamb,
Support.
support by Mosrak. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. And under that one was another treatment process that we use of chemicals that we put into the water to remain safe for us, so we won't end up like a Flint or anything. I know there's a little bit more information, but someone asked me, they said, well, we don't know what you guys be doing. Can you just give a little bleep on there what it means? And so that is what that water treatment is for, the water that we drink and we use. Number 5.
Accepting the bid from Jay's Septic Service in the amount of $365,577 for a 5-year period to provide portable restrooms on a unit price basis in various city parks.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support. Mayor Pro Tem motion and supported by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Ashford,
Oh,
if I might, please. Yeah, James, I think it might be important. I know that Councilmember Lamb and I both kind of reached out to you and let them know the savings that we're making from the switch of kind of what we did and what we discussed before, if you could, please.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, this is kind of like a little tug at the heart. When you bid things out, per our ordinances, we have to take the low bidder. This is a significantly low bid. from Jay's Septic. And the reason why that is because Scotty Potties has held the contract for many years, and they have done an incredible job for the city. They've served our city well as we've influxed and have events and needed more porta-johns. They've always been there. And so although we're going with the change of servicers because of the bid was such a stark difference, about 30% less, I do want to say that it's not because Scotty's Potties was bad anyway. I just want to take this moment to thank them for doing such an incredible job for our city. They really do an amazing job, and hopefully in a few years they get it back.
Okay, so our main thing here was its cost savings?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Did that answer your?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Did we call the roll on that one already?
Not yet.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haramza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Number 6.
Accepting the bid from Wadham's Equipment in the amount of $28,887.23 for the purchase of a Kubota RTV for use by the Cemetery Division.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support?
Councilmember Pemberton, supported by Councilmember Mosrak. Any discussion on that? Okay. Hearing none, roll call.
Councilmember Haramza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Okay. That concludes our motion carried. That concludes our from the city manager. Now we will go to resolutions.
Approving the contract with the Michigan Department of Transportation for additional utility work within Component 1 of the Blue Water Bridge Plaza Expansion Project, which includes sanitary sewer replacement and storm sewer rehabilitation work at the intersection of Highway M25, Pine Grove Avenue, 10th Avenue, and Lion Street.
Okay, is there a motion for resolution 1?
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Moved by Councilmember Mosrak and supported by Mayor Pro Tem Sherry Archibald. Is there any discussion? Did you have any discussion?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, hearing none, call the roll.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haramza?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. And now we're going into the 2 resolutions that were added to the agenda. And we will take the one from the mayor's first. I don't know how you're going
The resolution of censor for City Manager James Freed.
Okay, is there a motion?
Mayor Ashford, if I may?
Yes.
I do concur with what Vicki said when she came up with. Many people are saying that.
Excuse me, we're looking for a motion.
I understand, but I don't want to vote on either of these. I do think we should table them both.
Well, then you should say that. I just want to keep
Okay.
it all
Thank
straight.
you
I
for
know that from
educating
parliamentary.
me.
Okay,
Yes.
it's okay. So you are moving for a table on?
I do want to table both of them. We need to come together, and I think these will help to divide us and not bring us together. Both motions, both resolutions.
Okay, she has a motion. Would anybody want to support that before we turn it out into the public or do whatever? Okay, hearing no second, then your motion dies.
That's all right.
Okay. Okay, so, okay. I almost feel like deja vu. Okay, so the hearing none, then the motion to act on that. If you don't hear anything, it's nothing, it's dead. Is that correct?
Mayor Ashford? That was just the motion to table, so the
No,
original
we
motion is
finished
still
with it.
there.
Hers, I ruled on that one. I beg your pardon? No, I did rule on that. I told her she couldn't have the discussion before she make that. We had the motion for the mayor's censure on the table, and I was calling for a motion to move it, and it was no, I was telling her to move it, and then there was no second or anything.
Yeah, that was.
So
the
it
correct
died
ruling
for the
that
lack
it
of a
dies,
second.
But then I think you're requesting a motion on the resolution itself at this point, as I understand it.
No, it's dead.
I'm sorry?
I thought it dies if you don't get a second in parliamentary procedures.
Yeah, so you're talking about two different motions. One
Oh, I'm
is-
just talking about the one. We're taking them separate. We got two motions, remember? Two resolutions.
Right, but I think there was a motion to table, so you're dealing with the table issue. You said it died, and now the question is whether or not there's a motion on the first resolution, the
Right.
mayor's resolution.
Okay, yeah, the mayor's, yeah.
So that would be the question for the floor, is do we have a motion and a second on the mayor's resolution?
And I asked that, and nobody said anything.
And if there's no motion and no second, then that dies as well.
That's what I said. It was dead again. Okay, so I done killed it twice. Okay, all right.
All right. Any questions for me?
Okay. So the second one to censor on this council, okay. And then on the third one,
Resolution of support for City Manager James Freed.
okay, resolution, okay, so is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Pemberton. Is there a second?
Support.
Supported by Councilmember Pemberton. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Mayor Ash.
Go ahead.
Real quick.
You go first.
Real quick.
Oh, excuse
Matter-
me, excuse me. I'll let you hear from
I'm
the
asking for
councilman.
permission.
Oh,
For permission, just real quick. Per labor laws, any type of discipline or discussion of a city manager can be done at the request of the city manager in executive session. Legally, I want to waive that legal right so you can have this discussion in public. I waive the right to a executive session. You can go on.
okay, those comments legit.
He's getting his steps in.
Big
Yeah,
money.
The city manager is correct. He has the right to request that it go into closed session, but since he hasn't made that request, there's no reason to go into closed session to discuss his performance or any disciplinary action.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so we can waive that. He has to specifically request it affirmatively, and he hasn't done that.
Mhm. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so it was properly moved and seconded, and we're at discussion right now, and I think I hear Councilmember
Jeff, you go first.
Councilmember Pemberton, and then Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, we'll hear from you, and then Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I want to, just as part of my comments here, thank public comment tonight. I really did appreciate that, and as Mr. Shouty said, it's the reason that it's one of the first things on the agenda, because it really helps paint the picture of things that we're going to be talking about. Lots of civics lessons tonight, and I'm, as a former teacher, going to not hold back on any civics lessons as well. There's sometimes confusion about the fact that people don't vote no. Occasionally I'll talk to people who are like, "Oh, you're on city council. You're just a yes man for whatever James Freed says. You guys always vote yes." And for the most part, I agree with that statement, because if you constantly had agendas before you in our form of government, as someone mentioned, we're not in a mayor council form of government. We're in a city manager council form of government. It's not a strong mayor form of government where it's like the mayor is the president and then we're the Congress and we fight each other to get our things. Like, the reason that I think someone cited 97%, and I'll believe the statistic because it seems about right. The reason 97% of what we vote on is yes is because, the wastewater treatment plant needs chemicals to function and operate, and we got to vote on that because it's a large amount of money. But we all agree it needs to happen. And the reason there's such a small amount of no's is because we have one employee, that is Mr. Freed.
It's easy for Mr. Freed to be the punching bag during public comment, and it's a little bit of what he signs up for. While he's not elected, we were elected to be a punching bag here and there. Mr. Freed is hired, just like any other city manager would be, and we always want to make sure we have a great city manager. If we had council meetings where there were constantly split votes on things, that would be a sign that the city manager does not understand the will of the city council. He doesn't understand what the city council wants. So it's a little odd because, again, it's not what you see in other different governmental bodies, but in this particular governmental body, constant votes for yes are overall, in the arching sense, a good sign, because it means that the agenda is aligned with what our desires are as a council, if that makes sense. And so, to me, that was again just a confirmation of what I see here. The other thing that was brought up during public comment that relates to this resolution is I think there's an impression that it's no secret many of us on this council supported Pauline Rep. If you saw me at a polling location, I had a rep sign. There were many people I supported during the election. What everyone doesn't know is I called Mayor Ashford shortly after the election and let her know that she has my full support. She has my absolute full support. I called her and made a point to say, hey, I assume this is unspoken because that's just kind of how elections go, but was praying about it and wanted you on my way to work and wanted you to realize I want you to know you have my full support as a council member. There's no bad blood. I'm still friends with Pauline Rep, and I know she wouldn't expect me to be an obstructionist of any kind because she didn't get elected. That'd be absurd. And so we had a good talk, and Mayor Ashford knows that she has my full support. That's why I actually spoke up at the meeting last week, is because Mayor Ashford has said that she desires transparency. And I want there to be that transparency in this body. There's an impression that's been given of this big divide, and maybe it's like us versus Mayor Ashford, and I don't see it that way. I'm concerned, and that's what I brought last week, because since that phone call, other than running into Mayor Ashford occasionally, I don't hear from Mayor Ashford. And that's a change for me. Now, that's okay, but that's preventing us from being a cohesive body, I think. I think the fact that Mr. Freed doesn't get feedback from the mayor and then a censure comes is very difficult. And that's why I disagreed with that approach, and I appreciated Councilmember Archibald's email today saying, essentially the same thing, that this isn't the right course of action. Now, Mr. Freed can tell you he hears from me regularly, and it's not always good. Just like any of my other employees, all of my employees in my day job, they get good feedback and they get bad feedback. It's important to me that we keep an open line of communication. If James makes a mistake, he hears from me about it. If there's something I didn't like that he did, he walked out when I was trying to talk to the mayor, and we talked about that. It's important to me that what was said earlier, I couldn't agree more with the public comment, that this doesn't become a clown show up here. It's good YouTube, as Trey Smith said, but it's not good for the city. It's not good for investors. It's not good if Mr. Jones is talking to an investor and they Google Port Huron and it comes up, the last Times Herald article, city manager and mayor butting heads at the council meeting. Nobody wants that. We all remember that from years ago. And again, we can't have both. We can't have the 97% yes votes and the crazy council. And I think overall, it's been there. But what I was trying to bring last week, and that I wanted to bring this week in this conversation, was again just that I'm concerned that we would jump to a censure, which again makes in it, really broad, statements without direct feedback. And I want to make sure that it doesn't just end that, okay, so we voted, we didn't vote on the censure. And again, a lot of people don't understand the procedures of what goes on, so it dies. But the reason I brought this second resolution is because when that was read in the beginning, I wanted to have something prepared if we needed a resolution that kind of gave the other side of the coin. Because to just let the censure die, it doesn't paint the picture that the city managers received positive feedback and the same review from Mayor Ashford, even when she was a council member, that she supported him for a decade. That he's received above average from most of the rest of the council on most topics. Year after year after year. And so I want to kind of put to rest any idea, and that's why I just figured we just put it to a vote. Do we stand behind our city manager? We're city manager form of government. He's our one employee. Do we stand behind him? And it gives everyone a chance to vote. If you don't stand, if you don't support this, if you don't agree with this resolution, that's fine. But I think someone said, let's have it out there so there isn't this weird thing where there's questions, is Mr. Freed holding back information from the mayor? Because that's again the impression that was given last week, and it's been alluded to this week. It was alluded to on the radio. That concerns me. That's not good for our city, and it's not true. It's simply not true. And so to me, it's important to say, not only is it not true, I'm just going to put it out there and say, hey, this is our city manager. We stand behind him, or you don't. This is, again, that's why we have this discussion. So that's kind of the broad overarching. There's probably a few other points that I glazed over. I tried to take some notes during public comment, but I wanted it to be clear, there's no weird animosity because Mayor Ashford won the election here. I support you. You have my support. That's why I'm having this conversation. That's why I think this needs to be resolved, because James is our employee, and I know he gets feedback. I know he gets feedback from Councilmember Archibald. He gets feedback from a lot of us, but I don't think he gets the feedback from you. And publicly censuring him would just turn into, again, more public animosity and humiliation, and rather than the feedback and discipleship that an employee needs. And so that's my long-winded civics lesson and reason for my resolution.
Thank you, Councilmember Pemberton. Mayor Pro Tem.
You're going to make me follow that. I didn't plan to talk that much. I like what many of you said when you talked about the controversy and what it does. And I look back to 15 years ago when I first was elected to council, and things were very controversial. And I remember the day we hired James Freed after we went through round and round and round of people trying to find someone who was willing to come here as a city manager. Because at the time, as you talk about, we went viral. It was so bad no one would take the job. No one wanted the job. No one wanted to be publicly ridiculed. It was very, very difficult. I've been up here 15 years. I'm grateful that I was reelected. I ran on the growth and prosperity of the city, the changes that we've made in the last 15 years. I also ran on the fact I never hid it. You can go back and listen to the podcast. I supported the hiring of James Freed at the time. I think he was the right person for the job at the time. I continue to believe he's the right person for the job. Does he make mistakes? Yes. But here's what I say to you that want us to publicly ridicule him, that publicly discipline him. That's not how the world works. If James breaches his employment contract, if James breaches our personnel policies, if James does something illegal, you absolutely should hear about it and we should tell you publicly. But the fact that sometimes James speaks out of turn or does something that we may not like, that's something we should be doing behind closed doors. We should not be sitting up here and publicly making a mockery out of the relationship between all of us. We all should get along. We all should work out our differences. We don't have to agree on everything, and we won't. But we certainly should be adult enough and have mutual respect for each other enough to be able to sit in a room and talk openly. If I have a problem with James, James knows it. If I don't agree with Anita, excuse me, Mayor Ashford, I will let her know that. But I expect that we can have that conversation. So I didn't vote to put the motion on the table because I don't think we should. I don't believe in censoring James. I do not believe that is the appropriate action. I also believe it opens all of us up to a lawsuit. I also don't believe we need a resolution to say we support James Freed as the city manager. I support James Freed as the city manager. If I didn't, he will know it, and eventually so will you. I respect all of you enough to say I will work on and make sure that we continue to work with him to do the things that we want him to do and to be the type of city manager we want. But I will not sit up here and publicly ridicule and humiliate our city manager for the sake of a show. I just won't do it. So for that reason, I don't support either resolution and I will vote no. Thank you.
Well, so any more council members want to come forward?
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Oh, yes. Councilmember Huron.
I was unfortunately not at the last meeting, but I've been more than caught up to speed. I think a lot of great things have been said tonight, and I think Vicki started it off. She said she was no public speaker, but I think she said the sentiment of everybody in this whole room, that, you know, we just need to work together. That's what everybody wants. This has been great conversation. I mean, it really has, like what's getting talked about right now. The way I saw it from afar without being at the meeting, it started about feedback with the public comment, and then it might have turned into procedures, and it just, let's just say it, just spiraled a little bit out of control. It doesn't make either one a bad person or not trying to do the best for the city. I think a good action forward is what was mentioned a couple times as far as making sure we're following procedures. If we're not saying Madam Mayor for permission, that's something I think we can easily fix and enforce as a group. So if we can take that off the table, we're good. When Barb brought the motion to table it, I was really close to saying second it, but you know what it does? It just keeps this muddling longer. So the reason, like she said, I'm no on both because, one, I don't think you should be censored. I'm not saying we're going to have a parade down Main Street. You know what I mean? Like there can be somewhere in between. So I guess I would just ask, I would like to focus more on the conversations about what's our camera coverage, the incident that happened in the parking lot, the access to down to the river. Let's do that. So my just input would be, I would be saying no to both because I think we've given it enough time. I think everybody's on the same page, and I just encourage, like I said, I can't tell anyone what to do, just maybe meet for coffee this week, see how they can make the procedures and everyone good. And as issues come up, if we're disagreeing doesn't mean there's a divide. Everybody doesn't have to say there's a divide, there's not. I disagree with Jeff on something, I disagree. But this is all about working together, which I think has happened well, and we may have gone off the tracks here for a couple weeks, but let's get back on track. That's my thing.
Any other,
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Oh, you, okay.
As I learn, and I did not fully understand when I interjected earlier, basically what I want to say is that I do agree with Conrad and with Sherry that I would prefer that we just, I want to say no on both of the resolutions because it only, and I understand what you're saying about it continuing if we table it, so my mistake there. But I feel that we have so many more important things to focus on. And this woman talking about in the parking lot what happened to her is horrific. And I thank you for coming here and talking about that because it must be very difficult for you to even have to address it and to relive it. And I will say that in the statement, the resolution from Councilmember Pemberton, I hear about how, and I do agree with some of what he put on this resolution for the city manager, but I keep hearing up here about how we are thriving. We are not. I work downtown. I run a business downtown. Our downtown is on life support. There are many things that we need to focus on, and I can get along with everybody here. I know I'm new to the game. I don't have the baggage, But I do believe in just all of us getting along, being mature, never letting this type of behavior occur here again. There are so many other things that we need to focus on. I live near a poverty rate. I don't have a lot of money. I understand people that struggle because I hang out with similar people. And we are struggling in this town. So I am offended when I hear that our downtown is thriving, that we have seen a dramatic drop in crime and poverty. It's not true. So that's one thing that we need to be transparent with the city about. We need to work on these things. And as the only person that works downtown on Huron Avenue and I see day in and day out, I'm not there as much anymore because I have other obligations now. We need help in this town. And so really, I just would prefer that we be very transparent about those things as well and stop saying that everything's fine. And we need to focus on those things instead of having these resolutions brought up and constantly just having tension up here. So I'm learning, and I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes, Councilmember Mosrak.
Thank you. I just wanted to explain real quick, as far as Councilmember Pemberton's resolution goes, if I voted no to that, that would tell the people that I don't support our city manager. So I will be voting yes on that, and that has nothing to do against Mayor Ashford. I support Mayor Ashford also, and I am more than willing to work with her in any way. I think if we vote no on this, we're already putting it out there to people that we don't approve of them. So if a motion was made and it was second, and you really believe that he's done good things here, I would encourage anybody on council to vote yes for the support. I also, and Mr. Freed will be the first one to tell you, call him on a daily or every other daily basis if I have a concern. It was brought up in public audience that there's so many yes votes, and I know Mr. Pemberton alluded to this a little bit. If there's a problem or something that I don't agree with, I'll speak with me. I call James or the clerk's office, or I get an explanation. If we all get up here and there's three of us saying no and four saying yes and vice versa all the time, that just doesn't work well. So we try to get the yes votes, and there's a lot behind the scenes, as Mr. Watson alluded to, that when you're on a board like this, a lot more happens than you just seeing us come up here twice a month and voting on what's on this agenda. So I just wanted to speak out. My voting yes to support James isn't anything against Mayor Ashford, and I'm more than willing to work with Mayor Ashford on any issue and sit down with her at any time. So thank you for that. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Councilmember Mosrak. Councilmember, I don't want to overlook you. You okay?
I am. Thank you.
You are. Thanks.
Mayor Ashford, if I could,
Mayor Asher, may I speak?
What?
May I speak?
You know what? Let him finish what he has to, James, and then you can speak after the councilman. Go ahead, James.
I was just going to ask, I'm really glad that we left this on the agenda so that we could have this conversation. Again, when the tabling failed and the other motion died, it would have prevented all of this conversation from taking place. I also agree with Mr. Mosrak that voting no, because we don't like the fact that we put these on the agenda, is not ideal either. What I guess I'm curious about is maybe we can ask our good friend Mr. Shouty to come on down one more time and give us a little parliamentary advice here on, can it be amended with Drew in the course of discussion? And what would the procedure be for that?
Yeah, so whoever made the motion could make a motion to withdraw it, and then you need a second to withdraw it.
Okay, well then in that
Okay,
case.
in that case, I'll take over from here. What I have heard is that you would like to withdraw.
Yeah, I would like to withdraw the resolution of support for City Manager James Freed.
Okay, is there a second to that?
A second.
Second by Councilmember Huron. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion?
Mayor Ashford, before Mr. Freed speaks, I would like to say thank you for that. By no means do I want to give the impression publicly or have the paper or the radio say we don't support Mr. Freed. I've made it very clear that I do, and so I appreciate that, Jeff.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Now, Mayor City Manager.
Good evening. This is a long night for me, as you can imagine. I wasn't expecting either or. First and foremost, thank you all for coming. It's a hard job to be city manager. One of the things that was most disheartening to me tonight is the notion that somehow Mayor Ashford and I don't get along, or that I don't respect Mayor Ashford. I have worked with Mayor Ashford for now almost 11 years. I have found Mayor Ashford to be a good person, an honest person. I have learned a lot from her. She has picked me up in my office and taken me around the city to show me stuff before. I'm able to talk with her, and so I have great respect for Mayor Ashford, and I wouldn't want anyone for a moment to think otherwise, and I think she'll do well for our city. I appreciate the support from the council. It is very much appreciated to hear those kind words, not just for me, but for my family. This is a very difficult job. In addition to the challenges that we've had to overcome, the financial challenges and where we were, in 2014, the majority of downtown had plywood over it. And dropping our poverty rate by 23% is remarkable, given that most core communities do not drop at that rate. Our crime rates are dramatically low. Year after year after year, our crime rates have declined. The drug epidemic is receding, and we are seeing light at the end of that tunnel. Our unemployment rate when I got here was at historic highs. Now it's at historic lows. About 3,700 new jobs were made. We chase workers instead of chasing jobs now. And because most of that was this entire mayor and council working together, but the large part was the private enterprise who took a risk in our community. I think people like Larry and the Walker brothers for the investments they made. But public life is very difficult, and this new technology we have with the internet and social media seems to gas the flames of division. We do have to be unified. We do have to work together, and you have my pledge, Mayor Ashford, to work with you and to be forthright with you. I want to say this, no matter how difficult this job is, you have to go online and read terrible, terrible false things about you and your family and do your day-to-day job at the same time. The challenges and the burden of this job have never outweighed the pleasure and joy I find in serving the people of this community, and that has not changed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments from anyone? Okay, well, this leaves me. First of all, when I brought that to you from the 10th, you know, you were waiting in anticipation. It's like we're talking two different things. I wasn't saying I was against the city manager or for him. What my job was to do is that a behavior was exhibited, and that was the recourse that I came up with to censure. You know, you don't walk out on your public or your council or whatever. And that's what that was for. The last thing I want to do is divide our city. And that's why I have been quiet so long. I haven't even really met one-on-one with the council member, because there has been some things that are there that I've kept from practically the public and the council, because I wanted to get it right. I wanted to see if I could somehow, you know, pray it to cease. I was going to put all that, you know, how everybody, you know, something happened to you, you want to run. No, I thought it'll go away. Okay? And so that was last week. You had to do something because it got too big for me. And I recognize that, you know, I don't work for James. James works for us. And we work for the people. So I took it back and gave it back to you to do it. So that's what I did. So to not hold him accountable in some way, and there's a lot of ways you could hold people accountable. That was mine. I was in the chair. You could ask for an executive coach if we saw something. And I know we all see something, because people wouldn't get up here, you know, every second and fourth Mondays, you know, with some kind of plan. Maybe there is something where we think we may be all about that, and we're not. We may have some issues that needs to be addressed. And that was all. And it was out of help. And when I first saw you, when I was writing it, I was thinking, I thought, I know we do good, not just him. You know, he could bring it to us. That's what his day-to-day job is. And it comes to us, and we make the final stamp. But we're all in this together. And there's a way you talk to people. Don't forget that. But it's okay for you to sit here and say that nothing illegal, but it's okay to disrespect me. And I get emails from the public. This started when I first got elected. Somebody from the public said they felt very bad, Anita, the way you were treated. You know, and it's not that I'm looking for you to make me any way, but when you treat me like that, you're treating the people like that. I am you. You put us here, not me. That's what you have to understand. And all this good stuff, you can do good stuff all day. But if you don't execute it right from your heart with honesty and dignity, you haven't done anything. It could hide itself so long and it will rear up. It's just like having a kid, you know. Do you think for 1 minute, you're going to walk out this door or whatever and disrespect me? Oh, no, you're going to bring your little self in here. Not like I could take James and whip him or something. No, I didn't mean that to be funny, but you just need to pause for a minute. And that's just what I thought. And I don't have any animosity. I don't have anything. I mean, I think, I do my best to try to stay who I am. That's what my DNA is all about. It's about bringing people together and making a difference and serving. But I won't be bought into anything that is not comfortable and if it's not right, and especially after I've been entrusted and I took an oath of office to serve the people. I'm going to serve you. And I'm not going to allow anything that looks like what it looked like on the 10th and beyond the 10th. This stuff's just been dripping. And there's evidence of it. And I plan on sharing that with my fellow council members in a meeting with the lawyers. And you'll see. So they really don't know. Maybe they would be saying something different right now had I come forward sooner than this. And it wouldn't be here where it is today. But it happened to be there, for whatever reason. Maybe it needs to do that. Because sometimes you have to go through stuff like this even to get to the bottom of anything. So I'm glad you pulled back on that, on your resolution or whatever. So, but I'll wake up in the morning, God willing. So with that, we do have an announcement that was associated with our agenda tonight. The City of Port Huron will be holding 2 public forums to discuss neighborhood and housing goals as pop.
We didn't.
We didn't what?
We didn't vote.
Oh, I'm trying to get out of
It's okay.
here. And that's not a fumble. It's just I'm trying to get out of here too. Okay. Okay. So what we're doing? Okay. Both of the motion, the resolutions that we put forth tonight, it looks like they're not going to be anything. So we didn't have. We did get a second to that, so we do have to vote on that one.
I believe so. Is that?
So I don't have to
Yes.
hear nothing else tonight, right? What?
But we just have to vote that everyone agrees to withdraw.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so would you call a roll call to, that both the motioner and the supporter, you did,
Madam Mayor, just so we're clear, we're voting on whether we're going to
Withdraw.
Withdraw, okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
yep. It was just coming off my lips, okay?
Yeah,
To withdraw.
thank
Councilmember Mosrak,
Yes.
Councilmember Payton,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Councilmember Harumza,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Ashford.
Yes. Okay, back to the announcement. The Port Huron, the City of Port Huron will be holding 2 public forums to discuss neighborhood and housing goals as part of the process to update the city manager's master plan. They will be held on Tuesday, March the 11th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and at Garfield School Library at 1221 Garfield Street on Tuesday, March the 18th. So that's 2 forums that are going to be taking effect. One on March the 11th from 6 to 8 and another one on March the 18th from 6 to 8 at the Elger Harvey's Reinvestment Center. So is there anything else that should come before us?
Madam Mayor, if I could please, I'd just like to thank Kelsey. I think she did a great job tonight filling in for our city clerk. This could have been a much.
Yeah, not an easy night.
I'm glad the meeting went as well as it did. I think we made a lot of progress, and it had to be a little scary for her to get thrown into the fire tonight, but you did a great job, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'd like to say, anybody else have anything else before I, okay. And actually, this weekend, we had a great, the museum and also the NAACP, they will be wrapping up, I think, their events for the Black History Month. It was already wrapped up, it was wrapped up this Saturday. Is a wrap up? Okay, is a wrap up. So you still have the opportunity to go over there and see some cheers, seat at the table, where a lot of local, and also we had people from Mount Clemens area also join us in there helping with that event. And also the Jeep, I hadn't heard of that before, but we had the Jeep Club. All the guys that drove Jeeps, we were out there Saturday, and it's sort of like a scavenger hunt kind of thing. But anyway, they raised funds for our soup kitchen. And we don't know all these groups that we have, and we are so resilient as a city in the lives. I mean, they're out there doing and working and putting it right back in the community to help others. So just want to take my hats off to them. And then the great and most beautiful thing I saw was on Saturday at 10 also, where Cleveland School in the Port Huron Area School District, Theo and DEI office, Karen is her name, they had a read-in for the kids, and it was the kids from the different area schools, they were reading in public, and it was just a beautiful thing. And you know, some of them were just kind of really creative and doing their little thing and very projective. And I think the message for that read-in was that, and for any read-in, when you talk about literacy and everything, it's just getting our kids at that age to start reading, because anything you want to be in life, you're going to learn. You're going to have to, if you can't read, you know, you can just call it a day. So those teachers, my hat goes off to all the teachers and all the educators out there working with the kids. So that was a great event to attend. And actually, all these events have been good to attend. Jeff Pimmer said he didn't see me, but I saw him at one of the churches over at Rise. He was there at that event where we had people concerned about how our city is going and stuff, and they were getting feedback from them. And then I look around and here we got 2 things scheduled for us. So it's just like a rolling stone, you know, that we keep rolling with each other to make our town that much greater and that much better. But we just can't allow things just to go undone and unchecked. You know, we have to be about the business of what we're put here to do. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second. Third.
Okay, third. It's been properly moved, second, and thirded, and God bless everybody and have a nice evening.